Well, greetings. What a strange day today was. This is January 6th, 2021, and we witnessed something that's not happened in anybody's lifetime that I'm aware of, in the United States, at least. Um, what a strange day. And before this all really got going, I had my own little strange experience at the radiologist today. I had some X-rays done. I had my first mammogram, um, which was like really a surprise. I didn't know that they squeeze your boob. It's this like mechanism that squashes your boob in between it so that it can take your picture. Well, that's kind of it's like, oh yeah, it didn't hurt, but some of my bigger busted friends are saying that it hurts. It didn't hurt. It was almost enough pain for it to be erotic pain, but not quite. It's like a little more on my nipple at one point. It's like not enough. But anyway, moving right along. Um, what happened today in the Capitol was like unprecedented, and there's some things that are really deeply disturbing about it, but there are also some things about the way that people are responding to it that are very like hopeful and, and bode well for the future. Um, the I just turned it. I just turned off the sound for they pretty much they shot down all the objections that have been raised. They just finished with the objection to Pennsylvania. Um, they got past Georgia, I suppose. They got all the way to Pennsylvania. They just shot down to Pennsylvania 92 to 7 or something like that, 93 to 7. Um, can't believe that Cruz is still voting for him. Rubio isn't. Leffler isn't. Boy, she just bailed right out. All of that, they're down to 7. It was 12. They're down to 7 now. Um, but I can't believe one of them's Cruz. Rand Paul is out. He's Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham called him a sore loser. Twitter, Twitter and Facebook blocked him for at least 24 hours, maybe more. Um, I mean, I have to. Got to breaking up is hard to do. I, today was one of the strangest days in my recall, where like the strange shit that was going on had nothing to do with me. I can't. My friend Randy Olson asked if there was ever a protest like this over an election. And so, no, I don't think so. Um, there have been some legal challenges to elections over the years. Um, big landslides are not as common as close. It's more common that the count is close and there's contesting, but never. I don't think the Capitol's ever been stormed by that like that. That in my recollection, any occupations of the Capitol have usually been a lot more orderly. Ben Maisel kind of style shit. Walk in with a bunch of people sit down in the rotunda and be cool, but not going busted everybody thought of it. And they were mostly veterans. That's probably the most disturbing thing. And I've known about this for several years. Is that in the police and military, there's been growth of this infestation of white nationalism and white supremacy in the police and military over the past few years. But it didn't take hold today, not at all. Um, there was some finger pointing at one point that I saw toward some of the cops who seemed to be like taking selfies and opening gates for um, the protesters trying to get in the Capitol. Um, and How much else? Stock market closed a record high. Got to kind of wonder what's on those guys' minds. Um, the woman who was killed climbing in a busted window. Um, Boy, Congress and both sides of the aisle, boy, they were really pissed. They were pissed. Just the whole idea of like there's a violation of this like the the citadel of this holy citadel of democracy been desecrated the way it was. Boy, they had some strong words tonight. Um, there was a couple I didn't even know who was talking. I was like, okay, you got that one right. Um, and I probably should just go and read some of the things I wrote during the course of the night because I had some observations that I felt were relevant to what's going on. So let me just go back and read what I stuck in my feed tonight. Um, a lot of what was going on in the Standing Rock Protectors group. Um, Here's this is an interesting. I wrote about this on my own wall, but this is what sparked it. Don Nassar wrote, "White privilege was very apparent in the way this event was responded to by law enforcement. To deny that would be a travesty and an outright lie." And I um, I responded with, "Can we say that a solid majority of Americans got that memo today, if they didn't already get it a long time ago? Look past BLM to the land back movement that's been gaining momentum since Standing Rock. The seventh generation uprising is now. Crazy Horse lives in all of us seeking a world at peace with itself and all humans able to share equally in this living world's vast resources, caring for the natural world rather than vainly attempting to modify it to suit our greedy egos and desires. Most of my friends have been standing solidly against bigotry in all its forms since we were kids ourselves in the 50s and 60s. Equality for all and a passage of the Equality Act was included in Biden's first 100 days pledges. It's about indigenous versus industrialized culture at the root of the culture clash, with a pan racial coalition of rainbow warriors standing real strong, peacefully and prayerfully, in solidarity with the indigenous way of life, recognizing the threat of extinction presented by the black snake and perpetual war machine of the banker gangsters. Let's cheer on Congressman Omar's efforts in response to Twitler's treasonous act today, shall we? For better or worse, it's the only system we've got. Until somebody comes up with something obviously better, I'm sticking with it. And this was sharing an article in the Independent about Omar drafting impeachment articles tonight. She hasn't presented them yet. I'm waiting for that. I've been listening all night. So let's see what else we got here. The people are like, This is an interesting conversation. She turned off the commenting on this one. Um, Diane Setchi in the Standing Rock Protectors group. Um, really proud of mainstream news pointing out how Trump refused National Guard in Washington D.C. and yet repeatedly during BLM protests ordered National Guard and hired thugs. Thank you. Finally. And they were talking about they had National Guard had been called up by DC a couple of days ago that they activated, but they were unarmed. They were all just there to help with directing traffic. Um, and I said that DC had troops activated yesterday helping with traffic management. The Pentagon declined a plea for additional troops when the rioting broke out. They've got 5 different kinds of cops there without federal troops who are able to get a grip on things. And then Diane comes in and Francine Potansky come in and said they didn't get a grip on things. But this was several hours ago, and it was calm enough for them to reconvene Congress. The Street Shots USA Today showing for the past few hours haven't had many people who weren't law enforcement in them. All in all, we have a really pathetic failure at a coup that plays perfectly into the hands of neoliberal fascists owned by the corporations on both sides of the aisle, who now have a solid boogeyman to play at everybody. There's a lot of capital massed and ready to do things, and Congress is hearing their constituents pretty clearly. It falls back on us to be pushing toward the reforms that are needed to end economic inequality and the insane attempts to tame nature with our technology, instead of using our technology to harmonize with the natural world. And then here's Francine saying, that's true tonight, but shots were fired. A woman died. The building was overtaken by a mob, both disrespectful and violent. Was watching all day and was shocked. There should have been adequate security and there was not. And sadly, because of this mob activity, ABS, how they pretty much got all into all spaces in the building, the future probably will entail much stricter security measures for all of us who might visit. Yeah. Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and Lindsey Graham have told him to concede. Graham told him to stop being a sore loser. How the Trump pansies are going to respond is very questionable, but there's strong bipartisan solidarity against mob rule and violence in the House and Senate tonight. What else we got going here? Oh, this was another one. This is about Diane was really going at it tonight. She was like, she was like, they don't like to have this kind of, really volatile political stuff going on in that group. But this was just like, this is the nightmare that won't go away. So this was about Facebook taking down his videos and statements. And what did Diane say? Oh, here's what it was. Diane was saying they should trash Trump. Any fool who could not take a change of heart when they could have died in there with idiots with guns is as crazy as Trump. Graham called him a sore loser. The House just voted down the objection to Arizona results. And then she says, that was surprising. Even Graham, guess being all locked up in a bunker together moves from reality, however uncertain in which direction. And I come back with, you think? The stock market closed on a record high today, too. You have to wonder what was on their minds with the Capitol overrun with armed and inbred idiots. Both sides of the aisle are very upset by the whole thing. Omar may introduce the articles of impeachment yet tonight. I made some shrimps in a sesame, garlic, and ginger sauce with baby portobello mushrooms to munch on. It's been one of the more bizarre days in my memory that nothing really strange or awful happened directly to me. And there was another one, Randy Olson, who's one of my oldest internet friends, posted a question. Let me find that. Here's that. She posted a question. She's running for office in like DuPage County, Illinois, some minor local office. county gossip, so I don't know. So her question: can anyone tell me when there was an actual protest over the loss of an election, an actual protest that sought to change the outcome of an election? And I said, oh, you always ask such fun questions. I don't recall any civil unrest quite like what we witnessed today for any reason, unless we were to look at some of the labor clashes of the 19th and 20th centuries. Certainly nothing branded leftist has ever looked at that sort of action as something to get behind that's happened in front of my face in the past 50 years. There have been legal challenges to elections in the past. The myth is that Mayor Daley stole the vote for JFK in 1960 with busloads of winos he sent around to the precincts to vote for dead people. The game is over for Trump. Twitter and Facebook both took down his speech this morning and blocked him for at least 12 hours. Congress has reconvened and they're all speaking real strong words. So here's Randy. Yes, but those were legal challenges. Trump has exhausted every legal challenge there is. Fact remains, he lost. People out there trying to compare this to BLM is pathetic for so many obvious reasons these people will never be able to understand. I'm also still in the belief that this very moment began with the election of Reagan. And it definitely all connects. Go read some H.L. Mencken. He called the game 100 years ago. Pence, McConnell, and Graham all called for him to concede. Graham called him a sore loser. Everybody on both sides of the aisle, except a very few diehard fools, are lit up about the violation of their holy cathedral of democracy. A woman was shot and killed in there today. I think that may be unprecedented. They all call for him to concede, basically insinuate he is awful, and then admit they wish he'd win. And she's like, face palming. Elizabeth Warren is giving it to him full blast right now. He's grievously injured by this lying coward. His whole plan was designed to knock out the basic idea on which this democracy is founded on. Let's see what that was the conversation. That was the cool conversation. Let's see what anything, it was just mostly one-liners. Not many votes for the Pennsylvania objection. The people that were, the guy with his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk was like a Navy SEAL. Freaked out Navy SEAL. And he's been around Arkansas. Richard Big O Barnett is the founder of 2A NWA Stand, which is a Second Amendment group. Oh, this is some weird shit. It's also giving my browser a hard time, so let's just close that. The woman was an Air Force veteran from San Diego. There's a guy with his face painted wearing a buffalo robe that got a lot of attention. It's just like nothing I've ever seen. And here's my assessment of the whole thing was Title 18, Section 1030, 2384, seditious conspiracy. I think it would be correct to say that the speeches given today by Mr. Trump and his son qualify as a seditious conspiracy, and that Congress should waste no time to try them for it. And here's my more expanded take on white privilege. White privilege were a hot topic on several friends' pages tonight, and rightfully so. with so many of them heavily invested in the BDS movement against the Zionist project in occupied Palestine, or land back movement struggling against the 528-year American genocide, still ongoing on native lands all over the continent, flabbergasted at not seeing a lot of heads cracked with batons and people hosed down with tear gas and pepper spray. Can we say that a solid majority of Americans got that memo today if they didn't already get it a long time ago? Look past the BLM to the land back movement that's been gaining momentum since Standing Rock. The seventh generation uprising is now. Crazy Horse lives in all of us, seeking a world at peace with itself and all humans able to share equally in this living world's vast resources. Caring for the natural world rather than vainly attempting to modify it to suit our greedy ego's desires. Most of my friends have been standing solidly against bigotry in all its forms since we were kids ourselves in the 50s and 60s. Equality for all and passage of the Equality Act was included in Biden's first 100 days pledges. It's about indigenous versus industrialized culture at the root of the culture clash, with a pan-racial coalition of rainbow warriors standing real strong, peacefully and prayerfully, in solidarity with the indigenous way of life, recognizing the threat of extinction presented by the black snake and perpetual war machine of the banker gangsters. Let's cheer on Congressman Omar's efforts in response to Twitler's treasonous act today, shall we? For better or worse, it's the only system we've got. Until somebody comes up with something better, obviously better, I'm sticking with it. The irony of the last of the mighty white men getting taken down by our first naturalized African American congresswoman will be delicious. Pence and McConnell both broke ranks today. So did Graham, but it hadn't happened by then. And here's an interesting exchange from another one from the group. Diane had cut off commenting on a post about today's rioting in the group just as I was about replying to this team of Dawn. I said nothing significant has changed all the way at the top of the economic pyramid, but we have captured the attention of the top 1% of the banker gangster suckers and should be able to make them underwrite a progressive agenda with more diplomacy and less drone bombing, once the Trump crime family and their following has been properly caged and put to constructive labor. Team of Dawn, it looks like millions of Americans were there today. The media, of course, is not reporting the truth. I don't know about millions, but certainly several 100,000. We're watching the old order being dismantled, which is in the long run a good thing. The truth must be revealed. Transparency is the issue. Media is totally corrupted more than ever before. It's time people listen to their inner, true, pure, unconditioned self. And people were coming at her with hateful comments. And Diane shut it down. Just as I'm trying to respond to her, to say the old order is in no way being dismantled. The people claiming to hold title to all the real estate containing critical resources still hold the titles and still determine the logistics of their exploitation. What we're witnessing I don't know what we're witnessing. What we're witnessing is my upper respiratory reacting to sucking in a lot of dust over the last few minutes. I haven't had none, but I've had very few cigarettes. Today I smoked more than any other day. I smoked like 5 of them today. But mostly it's been just 2 or 3 since the first of the year. My upper respiratory is definitely appreciating it. So anyway, what we're witnessing There's a very solid majority saying no to hate. While the lunatic fringe H.L. Mencken described 100 years ago as a pack of jackals worshiping a jackass, are attempting a direct overthrow of the legal government in support of their failed leader. This will go nowhere fast because nobody who isn't seriously defective in the behavioral health department is climbing on board. Most elected officials are covering their own behinds right now. It will be business as usual for the war toys industry, with all of the posturing and propaganda supporting their bloated budget while refusing to allocate funds for education, nutrition, health care, housing, or transportation for working class Americans. It is incumbent on us, the elders of the queer and indigenous communities, who convinced 8 million more digitally dumbed down dupes to vote for the kinder, gentler neoliberal fascism over the classical Hitlerian drama Diaper Don the con was trying to put us through. There are green financiers, such as David Martin, who recognize the injustice and unsustainability of the system as it is, trickling down bird shit from above, who will be looking to the previously ignored indigenous leaders and natural scientists as investments are made to rebuild America from Main Street up rather than Wall Street down, considering nothing more than the return on investment. If we keep our leaders' feet to the fire, we can move forward in ways that are economically just and ecologically sustainable. If we slack off, the petrochemical and mining companies, backed by the war toys manufacturers, will have their way. And ultimately, the planet will just say, fuck you. Which it's already doing. Pence has, is that him? He's definitely, Pence has definitely jumped ship. Twitter locked Trump's account. And while the world was distracted by the lunatic fringe's insurrection in the States, the Zionists appear to be taking advantage of the moment by ramping up against Iran and Syria. Tonight, they launched their third missile barrage on bases around Damascus, allegedly used by the Iranians in the past 10 days. We don't need two of those. One is sufficient. Delete, delete. This is my first thought today. This is my meme bomb on the day. Guys, I just couldn't believe what I was watching and some of the conversations that were happening. Caitlin Johnstone was like right there. Americans finally discover they can just storm the Capitol, demand what they want, and they do it to defend the corrupt plutocrat. And somebody put a picture of Voltaire and Donald Trump up together with the Voltaire quote saying that those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. And then we have what's his name from Family Guy, being rated as being just misunderstood and lonely, or lonely, or a terrorist by the color of his skin. This was an interesting observation by someone named Mohammed Safa, who said if the United States saw what the United States is doing in the United States would invade the United States to liberate the United States from the tyranny of the United States. Which is true. It's totally true. What else was there? This is just incredible. It's just an incredible day. Got some lunatics sitting behind the desk of the chair of the Senate president's desk. There's another lunatic with his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. So here's my 8 hours ago. This is about when I got home from it was about when I got home from this was like it was about when I got home from the mammogram, and because Davia showed up right as I was finishing it. So here's my, doing some reminiscing. Getting dealt the hand I got dealt, a two-spirit Heyoka in these most interesting of interesting times. There's some things about the festering madness that are difficult not to laugh at, like the armed and inbred Trump pansies storming the Senate chambers. I really want to see the video of all those Republicans led by Moscow Mitch getting hustled out of there by the Secret Service. There's a picture of like some people with their like weapons pointed at the door with some other people's like sticking their face like looking in. I haven't seen any like really juicy video yet. Hopefully this grand inanity will be plowed under quickly by the police and military. Pence and McConnell both broke ranks today, and anybody left supporting him after today is just committing political suicide. I witnessed my first police riot in 1966, coming around the corner of Van Buren onto State Street, that great street in my sweet home Chicago, just as Chicago's funniest decided to cut loose on the tail end of an anti-war march that had just rounded the corner at Congress. The claim was that the protesters were throwing bags filled with feces and broken glass, but the fact was the only ones throwing anything were the Lakers. We watched the West Side burn from the rooftops of lakefront high rises during the King riots in April 1968, and we're out cruising West Madison while the asphalt was still soft from the heat of the fires to see the damage. I was right near the stage in July 1970 in Grant Park when they announced that Sly Stone had canceled and a shitstorm broke out. Fortunately, I was able to escape to the north along the side of the bandshell and on a bus home before it broke out of the park. Over the years, I've been at many more public assemblies that broke down into chaos, often part of a team working with the cops, and more than once the only one between the cops and the crowd. Though I have to admit that being white had a lot to do with my living to tell the tale, but being smarter than the shit eaters had much more to do with it, because there were lots of moments that if I had even twitched wrong, I would have been shot or beaten severely. This is the last thing I ever expected to see erupt in our streets, and I pray that it does not grow, but it dies the ignoble death that it deserves, with the entire Trump family arrested, along with all the elected officials standing with him today, tried for treason, if found guilty, sentenced to life imprisonment and hard labor. I lifted this conversation about this at Dawn and Assource. Her friend Rami Nawfal said, I think there's some premeditated manipulation going on against both extremes of the political spectrum in order to rile them up for something more ominous like a civil war. How would that stop? Martial law, of course. Manufacturing the problem, provoking the reaction, and implementing the totalitarian solution. And my response to that is what I've observed my entire life is that the organized left will have none of that. We never have. And the Rainbow Warriors among in the organized left have always been in the thick of it, making peace since it all started off boiling over in May this year. We stay strong. Number 45 is going to be remembered as the president who finally made America great by trying to take it over for himself and his cronies. Here's something I found about the Pentagon denying National Guard requests. They really need them, as it turned out. Well, January 6th, I gotta fix this. 2021. Um, that was last year. Come on. Well, January 6, 2021, go down in history as the day democracy died in the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. I pray to everything that's true and enduring about the way the universe works on the mass human consciousness that it doesn't. It isn't looking at all promising at the moment, though. Trump and his son need to be taken in custody for inciting that riot. Don Jr.'s rant was so nasty that all the networks cut his live feed. He was inciting against transgender people. Downtown D.C. office buildings are all being evacuated. My friend Kamal Nawash, if I'm saying it right, I've never heard him say his name out loud. The Senate, his office guy, I think His office is probably near the State Department because of what he does. He's an immigration attorney. Um, and we got evacuated and had a wild ride home to Virginia. Um, Senate and Pence have been moved to an undisclosed safe location. There's a report that the Kansas and Georgia Capitol buildings have also been stormed. There was nothing in Kansas. I'm not sure what happened in Georgia. And there was some skirmishing in LA. This is the one mass civil unrest I never expected to see in this republic. People are actually rioting to keep a fascist tyrant in power. There are unconfirmed reports that the Kansas and Georgia Capitol complex have been stormed by very angry chimpanzees. Pentagon turned down a request for deployment of the National Guard, but the Virginia governor is sending his troops. What a crazy day. Craziest day I can remember that the crazy shit I had nothing to, the crazy shit did not impact me directly. But I got plenty of my own crazy shit going on to like weigh me down. I'm not even gonna go into it, which is gonna really disappoint the assholes a lot. I haven't even looked at either site since for several days. It's like fuck them. I'm not even gonna. I have to focus on finding a place and moving. I'm packing. I'm already starting. I'm packing things down. I'm totally decluttering. Gonna hold a big moving sale and dump what I don't sell, and just gonna pack the stones down tight and get them ready to move to somewhere else. And that's that. Donald J. Trump should. This was Senate evacuated. VP Pence ushered a secure location after pro-Trump protesters stormed Capitol. It's totally nuts. Donald J. Trump should immediately be removed from that office for inciting this riot, and Pence sworn in for the remainder of his term. Will that happen? That's doubtful. But you can be assured that every Republican still supporting him in the morning will have committed political suicide. State of emergency declared. This is my reaction to his speech this morning. Just pack your bags, you slimeball. The election wasn't rigged. Americans truly patriotic to the honesty of our elections and integrity of our glorious republic. 80 million of us said fuck you to you and your Hitlerian fascism. Pack your bags, you despicable fascist fool. And then we had the frontline doctors are putting out an anti-vax message, but which is more harmful? Anti-vaxxers and their insistence that all vaccines are harmful, or the pro-vaxxers insisting all vaccines are safe. This vaccine has not been proven safe or effective to the FDA's satisfaction. It's just received emergency use authorization, and a very large number of healthcare professionals are declining it when offered. I don't want to talk about I had my first mammogram today. It was real weird, but it was cool. It was cool, and my boob looked healthy, so we're good. We're I'm really I'm deeply anxious about the pending move because I'm not finding anything in my price range, but something will appear, I'm sure, in my budget. Um, and I should have no trouble moving. I have assistance from good friends. Um, and I have my shit pretty well together, actually. Um, I've been decluttering. I've got containers, nice plastic bins and plastic filing cabinets and shit, and everything packs into it and taped down, and wham, it's movable. Easy. So I'm not too worried about that. My main worry right now is to find something affordable. But anyway, I guess 42 minutes is enough of this shit. I'm not sure what to call it besides weird day. What a weird day. A strange day. But and I'm really like feeling way too fat. Um, my belly is sticking out more than my boobs, and that bothers me. My belly is hanging over my belt, and that bothers me. Especially since I got no butt. I'd rather have all that belly in my butt. One of the kids just had that done. Just had everything rearranged. And got, so now I got my hourglass figure I always wanted. Good for you, kid. Go get him. She's one of the models, Capri Culpepper. She's doing real well. Apparently, I mean, she's driving a fucking Beamer, brand new Beamer or Mercedes or something. So I guess she's making money. Anyway, um, hope everybody's having a safe and healthy time of things. And thanks for watching. Happy day. Bye.